What if I told you that every single time you've begged for money, you've actually been pushing it further away from you? That every desperate, "I need this so badly," has been sending a signal to the universe that keeps abundance locked behind an invisible barrier you didn't even know existed? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Has this ever happened to you? You're facing a bill, staring at your bank account, and that familiar panic rises in your chest. You find yourself whispering prayers, making bargains with life itself, or even literally begging, whether it's to your boss for a raise, to circumstances for a break, or to the universe for just enough to get by. But here's what most people never realize. That very act of begging is the exact reason money keeps slipping through their fingers like water. Florance Scovel Shinn understood. Something that escapes 99% of people struggling with money today. She discovered that there's an invisible power dynamic at play between you and wealth, and most of us have been playing our role completely wrong. We've been taught to approach money as if we're servants begging for scraps from a master, when the truth is far more revolutionary than that. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to discover might surprise you, and it will definitely challenge everything you've been conditioned to believe about how money flows into your life. The shift I'm going to share with you isn't just about changing your words. It's about completely flipping the power structure that governs your entire financial reality. Think about it for a moment. When you say, "I hope money comes," what position are you speaking from? When you whisper, "Please, I need this job," what energy are you projecting? When you cross your fingers hoping for financial relief, who exactly is in control in that scenario? The uncomfortable truth is that you've been unknowingly positioning yourself as the weaker party in every financial interaction, and weakness repels the very thing you're trying to attract. But what if there was another way? What if, instead of hoping and begging, you could command? What if money was designed to respond to authority rather than desperation? What if the universe has been waiting this entire time for you to stop asking and start declaring? The ancient wisdom keepers knew this secret. Successful people throughout history have understood this principle, whether consciously or intuitively. They don't beg for opportunities. They create them. They don't hope for wealth. They expect it. They don't ask if they're worthy. They assume they are. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to make this shift from beggar to commander. And once you understand the specific language that money responds to, your entire relationship with abundance will never be the same. The words you're about to learn have the power to collapse time between desire and manifestation. But first, you need to understand why your current approach has been working against you. If you're ready to command your abundance instead of hoping for it, subscribe. We dive into the mindset shifts that actually create lasting change. Now, I want to go even deeper into this transformation because there's a hidden truth that Florance Scovel Shinn discovered over a century ago, and it's been quietly changing lives ever since. She taught something that sounds almost too simple to be real. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But most people completely misunderstand what this actually means. This isn't about sitting in your room, visualizing and hoping the universe notices your good intentions. This isn't about polite requests sent out into the cosmic void. What Florance Scovel Shinn was revealing is something far more powerful. She was teaching you to stand tall with authority and watch reality itself bend under the commanding power of your voice. The difference is profound. When you hope for money, you're admitting you don't have it. When you wish for abundance, you're confirming your current lack. But when you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, something extraordinary happens in the fabric of reality. You stop being someone who needs money and transform into someone who naturally attracts it. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, there's always this moment of inner revolution where a person stops asking, "How can I get money?" and starts declaring, "Money flows to me." It's a complete mindset revolution that impacts every decision you make, every opportunity you notice, and every action you take. Here's what's fascinating about this journey of transformation. There exists one specific command that makes all the begging, hoping, and desperate energy completely unnecessary forever. This single phrase has the power to reverse the entire relationship dynamic between you and wealth. Instead of you chasing money, this command makes money chase you. Instead of you being at the mercy of circumstances, you become the source of power that circumstances respond to. The revelations that come from understanding this shift are life-altering. People who discover this command often describe it as finally remembering something they always knew but had somehow forgotten. It's like waking up from a dream where you thought you were powerless only to realize you've had the authority all along. What makes this so powerful is that it doesn't require you to change your entire life overnight. It doesn't demand years of study or complex rituals. It's simply about recognizing the true relationship between your voice and the flow of abundance, then speaking from that place of knowing rather than hoping. The impact of this realization extends far beyond just money. When you understand how to command rather than beg, it affects your relationships, your career opportunities, your confidence, and even how strangers respond to your presence. There's an energy that successful people carry, and once you access it, doors begin opening that you never even knew existed. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to command," if this resonates with your journey right now, and let me show you exactly what this transformative phrase is and how it works. The profound revelation here is understanding why your current approach has been sabotaging your financial success without you even realizing it. There's a universal law at work that most people discover too late. The harder you chase something, the faster it runs away from you. This principle operates in relationships, opportunities, and especially with money. Think about it from a different perspective. When you're desperate for someone's attention, they can sense that neediness, and it actually pushes them away. The same energetic dynamic happens with money. Every time you chase after it with that frantic, desperate energy, you're unknowingly creating what I call repellent force. This energy literally tells reality that you're powerless, that you don't have abundance, and that you're waiting for something outside yourself to come save you. Behind the scenes of this invisible interaction, something fascinating is happening that most people never understand. The universe doesn't just hear your words. It's constantly listening to the energetic position you speak from. You could repeat, "I want money," 1,000 times, but if your voice is trembling with need, if your energy is desperate and shaky, the universe only receives one clear message: keep money far away from this person. This discovery completely transformed my understanding of how manifestation actually works. It's not about the specific words you say or the number of times you repeat an affirmation. It's about the internal state. You're broadcasting while you speak. When you beg, you're broadcasting lack. When you desperately hope, you're transmitting neediness. When you anxiously worry about money, you're sending out signals of scarcity. The journey of transformation begins when you recognize that your current energetic position has been working against you. Every sleepless night spent worrying about bills, every anxious conversation about not having enough, every moment of panic when looking at your bank account. All of these experiences have been programming the universe to maintain your current financial reality. This hidden truth explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract money, while others work incredibly hard but never seem to get ahead. It's not about luck, connections, or even talent. It's about the fundamental energetic relationship they have with abundance. Those who naturally attract wealth speak from a position of expectation rather than desperation, authority rather than begging, certainty rather than hope. If you felt that shift about your relationship with money, hit the like button. That connection tells me we're building something meaningful. The impact of this realization is immediate once you truly grasp it. You start to notice how your voice changes when you talk about money. You become aware of the energy you carry into financial conversations. You begin to feel the difference between asking from lack and declaring from power. What makes this transformation so powerful is that it happens from the inside out. You don't need to change your external circumstances first. You don't need to wait until you have more money to speak with authority about money. The shift happens in your energetic position, and then reality begins rearranging itself to match that new frequency. Write in the comments, "I feel this shift happening," if you're starting to understand how your energy has been affecting your financial reality, because what comes next will show you exactly how to flip this dynamic. Now, I want to reveal something that Florance Scovel Shinn understood about human psychology that most people completely miss. She warned us that we must dare to assume we already are what we seek. But here's where the transformation gets really profound. Assumption isn't whispering sweet hopes into the universe. Assumption isn't pleading with circumstances to change. True assumption is command, pure and simple. Think about this behind-the-scenes reality for a moment. When a king sits on his throne, does he beg his servants to bring him what he needs? When a general addresses his soldiers, does he say, "Please, if you don't mind, could you possibly consider following this order?" The very idea sounds ridiculous because authority doesn't ask permission. It simply declares and expects compliance. This is the mindset revolution that changes everything about your financial journey. You've been approaching money like a peasant approaching royalty, hat in hand, hoping to be granted an audience. But the hidden truth that Florance Scovel Shinn discovered is that you were never the peasant in this scenario. You were always meant to be the one with the authority. The impact of this realization can feel overwhelming at first, because when you initially hear the words that actually make money move, it will feel strange, almost uncomfortable. There's a perfectly logical reason for this reaction, and understanding it is crucial for your transformation. You've been trained your entire life not to command. From childhood, society has systematically conditioned you to lower your head, wait your turn, hope for the best, and beg when necessary instead of taking charge of your financial destiny. Every "be polite," every "wait your turn," every "don't ask for too much" has been programming you to shrink rather than expand, to request rather than require, to hope rather than expect. The educational system, family dynamics, social norms, they've all been unconsciously teaching you that commanding energy is somehow wrong or selfish or inappropriate. This conditioning runs so deep that when you first access true commanding energy around money, your nervous system might actually resist it. You might feel guilty, like you're being presumptuous. You might worry that you're being arrogant or that you don't deserve to speak with such authority. These feelings are completely normal because they represent decades of programming being challenged by your authentic power. The revelations that come from understanding this dynamic are staggering. Most people spend their entire lives bumping up against their own internal permission barriers, never realizing that the very hesitation they feel when claiming their abundance is what's been keeping abundance away. The universe responds to the energy of certainty, not the energy of, "I hope I'm allowed to have this." What makes this journey so transformative is recognizing that the strange, almost rebellious feeling you get when speaking with financial authority isn't a warning sign. It's actually confirmation that you're breaking through the conditioning that's been limiting you. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to break the conditioning," if you can feel yourself pushing against these invisible barriers that have been holding your financial growth back, because the specific command that dissolves all this resistance is about to be revealed. The breakthrough moment in this transformation comes when you understand that most people completely confuse confidence with commanding, and this confusion is costing them their financial freedom. Confidence is something you build up, something you work on, something that can fluctuate based on your mood or circumstances. But commanding is entirely different. It's not about how loud your voice is, it's not about forcing anything or trying to convince anyone. True command is about certainty, the kind of unshakable certainty that doesn't ask permission, doesn't wait for approval, and never doubts its own authority. Behind the scenes of every major financial breakthrough, you'll find this type of quiet certainty. It's not the person screaming affirmations in the mirror or trying to pump themselves up with motivational techniques. It's the person who simply knows, without question, that money responds to their voice. This knowing doesn't come from external validation or proof. It exists independently of circumstances. Florance Scovel Shinn captured this perfectly when she said, Your assumption, when persisted in, becomes fact. Most people gloss over this statement without understanding its revolutionary implications. Notice that she didn't say, your hope becomes fact. She didn't say, your wishes become fact. She said assumption. And assumption operates from a completely different energetic frequency than hope or wishing. The hidden truth about assumption is that it's quiet authority. It doesn't need to announce itself or prove its legitimacy to anyone. When you assume something is already yours, you're not trying to convince the universe. You're simply acknowledging what you know to be true. This is why assumption is so powerful and why it makes begging completely unnecessary. This journey of understanding reveals something profound about how reality actually works. Your assumptions, when held consistently, don't just influence your behavior. They literally reshape the circumstances around you. People start responding to you differently. Opportunities begin appearing that weren't there before. Money starts flowing in ways that feel almost effortless because you're no longer swimming against the current of your own doubt. The impact of this mindset shift extends far beyond just financial results. When you operate from assumption rather than hope, every decision you make comes from a place of knowing rather than uncertainty. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop looking for external signs that it's okay to claim what you desire. You simply assume it's already yours and watch reality catch up to your inner knowing. Subscribe if you understand that transformation requires real authority over your circumstances, not just positive thinking. What makes this transformation so powerful is that assumption doesn't require evidence to function. In fact, it works best when you persist in it, despite what your current circumstances might be showing you. This is the leap that separates those who break through from those who remain stuck. The willingness to assume abundance even when the bank account doesn't yet reflect it. Write in the comments, I choose assumption over hope. If you're feeling this shift in your own energy and you're ready to discover the exact words that turn this inner knowing into external reality. Now, I want you to imagine something that will help you recognize this commanding energy when it shows up in your life. Picture a room full of nervous, uncertain people, everyone fidgeting and unsure of themselves. Then one person enters, calm, steady, absolutely centered. They don't need to raise their voice or plead for attention. They simply speak, and the entire atmosphere in the room shifts. Everyone naturally turns toward them. The energy changes. That's what true command feels like, and it has nothing to do with dominance or aggression. This transformation in energy is something you can actually feel in your body when it happens. It's a settling, a grounding, a quiet knowing that doesn't need to announce itself. Behind the scenes of every powerful moment in your life, this energy has been there. The beautiful revelation is that this commanding energy isn't rare or reserved for special people, celebrities, or those born into wealth. You've already experienced it more times than you realize. Think back through your journey. Remember that moment when you walked into an interview and somehow just knew you already had the job? That wasn't positive thinking or lucky confidence. That was pure command energy flowing through you. Or that time when you spoke up in a conversation and noticed how everyone leaned in to hear what you had to say? That wasn't an accident or a fluke. That was your natural authority expressing itself. The impact of recognizing these moments is profound because it means you're not trying to develop something new. You're simply learning to access something you already possess. Every person has experienced flashes of this commanding presence, but most people dismiss these moments as luck or coincidence. They don't realize they've just tapped into their authentic power. What makes this discovery so transformative is understanding that those moments when you felt unstoppable, when opportunities seemed to appear out of nowhere, when people naturally wanted to help you, those weren't random events. They were you operating from your true energetic position, the one where you naturally attract rather than chase, command rather than beg. The hidden truth is that your entire financial reality has been shaped by how often you allow yourself to operate from this commanding energy versus how often you shrink back into hoping and waiting. Every decision you make from this place of knowing creates different results than decisions made from uncertainty or desperation. This journey of recognition helps you understand that you don't need to become someone different to attract money. You need to become more consistently who you already are in those powerful moments. The mindset shift happens when you stop treating those commanding moments as accidents and start treating them as glimpses of your authentic self. Write in the comments, "I remember those moments," if you're starting to recognize the times when you've naturally operated from this commanding energy. Because understanding how to access this state consistently is about to change everything about your relationship with abundance. The tragedy that plays out behind the scenes of most people's financial lives is heartbreaking when you truly understand what's happening. Most people do feel that commanding energy, that moment of absolute knowing and authority, but it happens once in a blue moon, and then they completely forget about it. They slip right back into the familiar patterns of begging, waiting, and hoping, never realizing they just abandoned the very energy that could transform their entire financial reality. This cycle of remembering and forgetting is what keeps so many people trapped in financial struggle when they could be stepping into their natural authority over money. It's like having the key to a treasure vault in your pocket, using it once, then walking away and spending years searching for another way in. The power was always there, but the mindset that accesses it consistently remains undeveloped. The transformation that needs to happen is moving from accidental access to intentional cultivation of this commanding energy. Most people treat their moments of natural authority like happy accidents, rather than recognizing them as glimpses of their true financial potential. This is why some individuals seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others work incredibly hard but never seem to break through. It's all about how consistently they operate from this commanding position. Now, I want to address something that's going to happen when you hear the actual words that activate this energy. Many people will experience what I call the simplicity trap. They'll hear the commanding phrase and think, "That's too simple. There has to be more to it than that." This mental resistance to simplicity keeps them stuck in complex, ineffective approaches to wealth building for years. Behind the scenes of this resistance is a deeply ingrained belief that anything powerful must be complicated. We've been conditioned to think that if something doesn't require struggle, sacrifice, or complex strategies, then it can't possibly work. This is perhaps the most damaging misconception about how abundance actually flows into your life. The hidden truth is that the universe operates on elegantly simple principles. Gravity doesn't require you to understand physics to work. Your heartbeat doesn't need your conscious supervision to continue. And money responds to commanding authority, whether you believe it should be more complicated or not. The impact of embracing this simplicity rather than fighting it is the difference between struggling for years and experiencing rapid transformation. The journey of breakthrough often requires letting go of the need for complexity and embracing the power of direct, simple authority. When you discover how straightforward it actually is to command money rather than chase it, part of you might feel almost disappointed by the simplicity. But this disappointment is just your ego wanting the process to be more elaborate so it can feel more special or deserving. The revelations that come from accepting this simplicity are profound because you realize you've been making everything much harder than it needed to be. Write in the comments, "Simple is powerful," if you're ready to let go of complicated strategies and embrace the direct approach that actually works, because the specific command that makes all this real is about to be revealed. Now, I want to share with you a perspective shift that completely revolutionizes how you think about money, and once you see it this way, you can never go back to your old relationship with abundance. Instead of viewing money as your master or your enemy, picture it as your loyal servant. This single mindset transformation changes everything about how you approach financial situations. Behind the scenes of this revelation is a profound understanding of energy dynamics. When a servant's master hesitates, stumbles over words, begs, or pleads, the Yi-Sai servant doesn't know how to respond. There's confusion, uncertainty, a lack of clear direction. But the moment that master gives a clear, certain command with quiet authority, the servant moves instantly. There's no questioning, no delay, no resistance, just immediate action. This journey of understanding transforms how you see every financial interaction in your life. Every time you've approached money with uncertainty, you've been giving mixed signals to your most loyal servant. Every moment of financial anxiety has been like a master who doesn't know what they want, leaving their servant confused and unable to help effectively. The hidden truth that most people never discover is that money has been waiting this entire time for clear direction from you. It's not withholding itself out of spite or because you're unworthy. It's simply responding to the unclear, hesitant energy you've been projecting, the same way any servant would respond to a master who can't make up their mind. This brings us to the uncomfortable line that most people spend their entire lives circling but never actually cross: the fundamental difference between hoping and commanding. This is where the real transformation happens, where your financial destiny literally shifts from struggle to flow. Hope is soft, gentle, and says, maybe one day, if circumstances align, if I'm lucky, if the universe decides I'm ready. But command is sharp, direct, and declares, now, here, mine. The impact of understanding. This distinction cannot be overstated. Hope sits in the waiting room of life, politely asking for permission, checking to see if it's okay to desire abundance, looking for signs that it's the right time. Command doesn't wait for permission because it doesn't need any. Command gives the order and expects compliance because that's the natural relationship between authority and response. Most people feel terrified when they approach this line because crossing it means taking full responsibility for their financial reality. It means no more excuses, no more maybe someday, no more hiding behind circumstances. Behind the scenes of every major financial breakthrough, you'll find someone who made the decision to cross this line despite the discomfort. The revelations that come from understanding this difference change how you walk through the world, how you make decisions, how you speak about money, and how others respond to your energy. Write in the comments, I'm crossing the line, if you can feel yourself approaching this moment of transformation where hoping ends and commanding begins, because the specific words that make this shift real are about to change your entire relationship with money. Now, I want to share with you something that completely changed my understanding of how reality actually operates, and it might challenge everything you've been taught about how change happens in your life. The universe doesn't respond to hope. It doesn't answer maybe. It doesn't rearrange itself for someday. The only energy that creates measurable shifts in your circumstances is authority, the kind of unwavering conviction that doesn't negotiate with doubt. Behind the scenes of every major transformation throughout history, you'll find this same pattern. The most powerful people who ever lived didn't hope their visions would manifest. They stepped into absolute conviction and declared, this will exist, this will happen, this will be. They spoke from a place of knowing that didn't require evidence or approval from others. This is the energy that moves mountains and creates empires. The hidden truth about your own journey is that you've been operating from the wrong energetic frequency without even realizing it. Every time you say, I hope things get better, or maybe next year, or if I'm lucky, you're broadcasting uncertainty to a universe that only responds to certainty. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while you're on the wrong frequency. You'll only get static. This brings us to something that might be uncomfortable to face, but understanding it is crucial for your transformation. Since childhood, you've been systematically conditioned to be polite, wait your turn, not ask for too much, and settle for whatever you're given. Every be patient, every good things come to those who wait, every don't get your hopes up too high, has been programming you away from your natural commanding power. The impact of this conditioning runs deeper than most people realize. You've been taught to bow your head instead of lifting it, to apologize for taking up space instead of claiming your territory, to whisper your desires instead of declaring them. This isn't your fault. It's the result of generations of programming designed to create compliant individuals rather than powerful creators. What makes this revelation so transformative is recognizing that your natural state isn't uncertainty or politeness around abundance. Your authentic self is the one who knows, without question, that resources flow toward authority and conviction. The person you were before the conditioning took hold understood that commanding energy is not arrogance. It's alignment with how the universe actually functions. The journey of reclaiming this authority